communication, authenticity, transformation, power struggles, passion are all going to be infused into this upcoming full moon in Taurus on November 15th. And so what we want to do with this, because of all of there's a lot of different aspects at play here. And I'm going to start with the full moon itself. So the full moon is in Taurus. So whenever we're looking at a full moon, it's the moon is opposite the sun. So the moon in Taurus is opposite the sun in Scorpio, and finding balance between those two things. So Scorpio is rawness. It is power. It is control. Both Scorpio and Taurus are fixed signs. And they're both very focused on the body. So they're both about control of the environment that we're in and how we move, how we physically move through that environment. Scorpio is rawness. Taurus is simplicity. Scorpio is complexity. Taurus is sensuality and touching and smelling in the dirt. They both like to get in the dirt, but Taurus is kind of laying and basking and smelling the flowers, and Scorpio is digging down deep and seeing what's hiding underneath. And so finding balance between these two things, we focus on the Taurus aspect of it. What are we releasing? Looking back to about 6 months, 5.5 months ago, I'll have the date up there. To see what is ready to be released. What seeds did you plant at the Taurus new moon that are ready to be released right now? So we do want to, that Scorpio is about release. Taurus is about consumption. So it's that digestive tract. It's the moving things through the body and absorbing what we want and eliminating what we don't. And so trying to not get stuck in overcomplicating things. I often joke around that I am a masochist for growth, that I do create things, make things more complicated than they need to be. I mean, there's other aspects to, there's a lot of different aspects to my chart that make me want to do that, including my nodal axis is Taurus, Scorpio. And although I'm on my south node is the Taurus side of that, so I do have that tendency to need to take my own time with things, and I'm being pulled into my north node Scorpio, which is more complex, which is more nuanced, and which is that energy. I talk a lot about the nuanced intelligence of the divine feminine and how we're embracing, how that we're coming into a time where we really need to embrace the nuances, but that doesn't mean we lose sight of the simplicity and the pleasure of what is right in front of us. And Taurus invites us to do that. So what can we let go of that is kind of that masochistic tendency for growth? Where are we creating problems where they don't exist? Or that they don't need to exist, or that they can just work themselves out. Taurus is about timing. So instead of going after the things to to not create problems where there aren't any, but give them too much attention. Where can we kind of slow things down? Taurus invites us to slow things down and let them come to us, let them move, and let us be more comfortable. Scorpio invites us to be comfortable in the dark. Taurus invites us to take our time with what we discover there. And so on top of that, we have the moon is going to be conjunct Uranus, and Uranus is about, so that's in Taurus still, it's about shock. It can be like earthquakes and physical natural disasters, because it's about the earth. Those kinds of things can happen to shake things up for us, because that's what Uranus does. It sends these lightning bolts to light things up so we can see them, so we can become more authentic, we can become more true to who we are, and let go of the things that aren't us. So really paying attention, what is right in front of you, what kind of surprises happen around this full moon that invite you to greater authenticity. Don't be afraid of them. Don't run away from them. Don't shoot the messenger. Let it be a time to reflect on what your needs are and how we're going to use them. And so that actually then kind of carries us into this Venus having moved into Capricorn. So Venus in Capricorn is about relationships. And so it's going to be there for the next, about the next month. That's usually how long a Venus transit happens. And but we're at the beginning of it, and it is at this new moon, and then it's aspecting other things. But full moon. But it's about relationships. It's about what do we want to take responsibility for in our relationships. How do we take more responsibility for ourselves? Being authentic in our own needs, and understanding them, and not abdicating responsibility to others. But that doesn't mean that we don't connect with others. That doesn't mean that, it means that if you put on your own oxygen mask, which is more of an Aquarian thing, and which we're going to get into that with Pluto. But Capricorn is about doing the hard work. It's about sustainability. It's about longevity. So as much as, with the Taurus part of this, we're focusing on what's in the moment. It's also about taking our time. And it's about that longevity. It's about what do we want a year from now? What do we want 2 years from now? What do we see our lives as it's 10 years from now? And how do we create sustainable practices in our relationships that facilitate that? So how do we not get caught up in the drama that sometimes is created by that Scorpio energy stirring things up, and sometimes is created by that Uranian energy by stirring things up? Venus in Capricorn is inviting us to look at the bigger picture, not even look at our long-term goals within our relationships, and then coming back to how do I become more authentic in myself right now, which then facilitates that. So that is in quincunx, so in conjunct oil and vinegar with Mars in Leo, and Mars in Leo really is that warrior energy, that of love, of fighting for what our passions, what excites us, who we care about, and defending them. Defending our loved ones, defending their needs, defending their rights. Because again, this is about individualization, this whole theme that we're coming into, and authenticity. And so how do we fight for what we love? What do we love? So we first have to identify what we love. And we feel that in our gut. Leo is the heart. Mars is the instinct. So this is a very instinctual time. I mean, we're going to come into all of this kind of Aquarian stuff too. And with the Uranus conjunct moon, there's that intellectual quality too. But I want you to really focus on what we are feeling, what we are excited about. And so who we care about, what we care about, and how we want to share the things we love with the people we love, and being willing to fight for it. And so that is in quincunx to the Venus. So the Venus in Capricorn, which is thinking long term, Mars in Leo is thinking about right here, right now, what can I do? So when we meld those things together, we'll have experiences that are that play either one side or the other, coming towards us. We're the fighter or we're the long-term thinker. And the way to meld those experiences is to drop into that gut, drop into that heart, feel into it, and then don't react in that moment. Let that feeling be true. Let it be the spark. Let it be the igniter. Let it be the catalyst for change. Let it be the catalyst for what is to come next. And then let the plan unfold. Coming back to Taurus and timing. Let the plan unfold. So then we move into Mars is also going to be opposite Pluto. So I'm going to get into this Pluto aspect here too. And Mars opposite Pluto is about power struggles. It's about, what do we want? Again, what do we want? How do we want to fight for? What do we want? We want inclusivity. We want authenticity, and we want it now. We want what we love. We want to protect the people we care about. And so the power structures, the powers that try to oppress that, push us to fight. And so we need to, again, let ourselves breathe and figure out what we want long term. What is the simplest thing that we can do right now? And we will find this really coming to light in these next couple weeks. And then as this Pluto Mars opposition continues, and Pluto then moves into Aquarius. So Pluto is still in Capricorn right now. It will be until November 19th, so not much longer. And remembering, keeping in mind that this is the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius was during the French Revolution, which was a time of calling power back to the people, but there were catalysts that were in place to push that energy, where civil unrest rises to the top for greater authenticity, greater inclusivity, greater individuality, for a vision of a stronger future. So we're fighting for what we're passionate for. We're fighting for what excites us. But in Aquarius, it's going to be much more intellectual. Moving forward into the next 20 years, this is a 20-year cycle, and we are just at the beginning of it. So know that things are coming to the surface for transformation and change to create a more just and equitable and inclusive future. But we have to do the work, and we will be called to do the work in this time. But with Venus, with Mars in Leo, we want to always check back into our heart. Are we doing this from a place of love? Are we putting our Aquarius also invites us to put our own oxygen mask before assisting others. So all of these things come into play. And then the Pluto Capricorn is in trine to, in harmonious aspect to that moon conjunct Uranus in Taurus, though they're working together really nicely. So simplify, see the shock, see the thing that brings your attention to it, and then use that energy as a thing, as what to do next, as an invitation, as one of the things, looking for clear windows and doors on what to do next. And that's what this moon conjunct Uranus is going to do. It's going to provide those clear windows of what to do next in order to create this future that we are all working together to achieve. And then the last aspect that I want to talk about in this is in this coming week at this full moon is going to be Jupiter opposing Mercury. So that's where I was saying at the beginning about communication. This is where the communication part comes in. Mercury's in Sagittarius, so it's about talking about what we believe in. Sagittarius doesn't have much use for facts. All they really care about is their experience and what they believe and their gut. So this is very gut energy here. It's opposite Jupiter in Gemini, which is about data and thinking and expansion. Jupiter is about expansion. Gemini is about collecting lots of information. And the Jupiter part of this is in retrograde. So we're going to be questioning, so the information that is going to be coming out is going to make us question our beliefs. So what do we believe in? What are our convictions? What sources are we going to look to trust, to understand, and letting that be, are we, and what are we doing? Are we finding data that backs up our beliefs? Because we can find data that backs up anything. Or are we letting the data, the new information, shape what we believe in? Are we allowing ourselves the flexibility and the openness to question what we believe? And so it's all coming into play. Like, we can see it. We can see everything um, live in front of us. We're living history right now. And so take the time, this full moon coming back, what is simple? What are coming, because it's so important for us to focus on the simple joys, because revolution, chaos, shifts, we are living through an enormous shift in history where we were coming into a more feminine place. It doesn't mean that we are abandoning the masculine. We're just coming into a place where the feminine is um, held, is equal to the masculine, and the patriarchal structures are crumbling. And it's hard, even people who are not aware of it, it's hard to move forward from that safety of that. But if we let ourselves trust in our own beliefs and ourself, in the beauty that is around us, this Taurus moon invites us to beauty, in the simplicity of the joys, then we're not going to lose sight of what's important and who we are, even as everything changes, everything shifts. That's part of the nature of the feminine, is learning and understanding cycles and understanding the ebb and flow of things. About empathy, about nuance. All of that is going to be is this future of humanity. And it's all good. Like, everything is a catalyst to the next thing, and we just have to show up and do what we know in our hearts, what we know in our guts, and what's true to ourselves. And this Taurus moon really invites us to sink into that, follow our own rhythms, and not be pressured to lose sight of a better future. Hope this helps. You can get readings and individualized readings and see how this is all going to affect you at katieshell.com. Hope you have a great day.